what is BHMS really, and is it done for children of all grades?
Bhms stands for Bright Hearts and Minds Shine, and it's an event that makes visible student learning, and we usually do it for Key Stage 2 students, that's grades 3 to grade 7, and it's a process through which students make their knowledge visible through presentations and photo documentation. The process of learning is made visible through demonstrations, and student understanding is also made visible through interactive sessions and presentations.
Nandini, I'm really curious to know what sets BHMS apart from the other ways of showcasing student learning?
Well, if I was to compare it to, say, a student-led MLV, where students of a particular grade make visible what they've learned in an entire month, BHMS is actually a term-end event. And here the entire key stage comes together from grades 3 to grade 7, where there is an actual joining of the dot that happens. So parents get at one glance an idea of what the whole key stage has been doing over the term, and they can actually get a perspective about, okay, if in grade 3 they're just about learning this, by the time they're in grade 7 they're about to do this. So it's a beautiful way in which the skill, the content, the character aspect of it also is made visible during. That's why it's called Bright Hearts and Mind Shine.
What would be the ideal time in the year to do a BHMS, and how often is it done in the year?
Ideally, a BHMS should be done at the end of an academic term, which could be one term or an entire academic year, and you can have it happening every term, so maybe twice a year, but even once a year is good enough, because the parents are already made aware of what their child is learning in the class through the student-led MLVs, and that happens quite frequently. So once in the term or once in the year, coming to see what's happening in the entire key stage is a good enough time.
How much time would need to be set aside for planning of the BHMS, and how much time does it take on the day of the actual event?
But if you want to do something well, we need to give time for it. But 2 weeks is the recommended time for the planning and prep, where the first week is more to do with brainstorming. What do you want to showcase? How do we want to do this? Well, the format has to be decided before that as a key stage. And once that is done, each grade decides what they want to showcase under the beacon decided. So the first week, we can say an hour a day should be put aside. But as we come closer to the date, you might find you need a little more time, maybe 2 to 3 hours. And of course, the day before the actual event, you need to have the entire day for the run-through.
What kind of spaces would you recommend for a large-scale event like the BHMS?
That's a good question, because because the format is very interactive and it's on a large scale, ideally as much space that is available should be taken up. So the reason being, the presentations are spread out and there is less chaos and commotion. But having said that, you can take all the classrooms into play, and if any other common spaces are available, you can use that also.
Do all children participate in this event? And do the children actually decide for themselves what they would like to showcase?
Yes and yes. Every child participates in the Bright Hearts and Mind Shine time, and the children do decide what and how they want to showcase it. However, the format of the event is decided earlier, before we actually involve the entire class, where the key stage team of teachers meets with representatives, student representatives from each grade, and that forms a committee that kind of decides what the format will look like, what are the beacons that we want to showcase, and what is the theme that we want to maybe have. Once that is decided, with student voice involved, it's then thrown open to the entire key stage, to the students, and then they decide within their own classes what they want to showcase under that theme. And then, just like in a student-led MLV, which concept they want to showcase, how do they want to showcase, all of that is then decided by the students.
Nandini, what would be the key role of the teachers in this entire process?
Teacher, one needs to be very clear about what is it that we want to showcase for this particular event, what theme we want to adhere to. Once that is decided, It's up to the teacher to initiate a discussion with the students, talking to them about the relevance, bringing into foray the whole idea of joining of the dots and what the key stage would like to showcase. Then once the students have decided what they want to showcase and in which manner, the teacher has to ensure that there is clarity and quality, because if the final event has to be like really amazing, she has to give the right kind of feedback to help the children, push the bar higher and make sure that the final day is not just something which is like, we did it, but every student stands tall and every parent goes back feeling like, wow, what an amazing experience it was.
Nandini, what are the 3 mantras for a successful BHMS?
Planning, preparation and practice. So planning as to when and how, preparation for the how, and practice and practice and practice. Very, very important. Another thing, since we call it the Bright Hearts and Mind Shine, it's very, very important to ensure that the content and the character are made visible. And it's not just a showcase of academic work done through the term, but where the child has, or where the key stage has done good work in terms of the citizenship, the surplus scenario, all of that. So there has to be a proper balance. Otherwise, the Bright Hearts and Mind Shine time, the BHMS, will lose its edge.